First of all, I would like to say good morning to our lecturer, Mr. Azahar and Madam Jisia. Today, me and my group mate Chong will be presenting our assignment 3 for personality and individual differences, PT10603. The title that we choose is Compare and Contrast Two Model of Personality Traits. We have choose two personality theory, that is Gray personality theory and the Big Five. Psychology has a long-standing heritage that goes back more than a century, and that legacy includes the study of individual differences. There are several definitions of personality that are McCree and Costa 2015 define personality as the individual differences between people in characteristic thoughts, feeling, and behavior, whereas McAdam 2009 defined personality as the consistencies in thought, feeling, and behavior associated with social interaction and socio-emotional aspect of life. Michel et al. 2008 defined personality as the basic quality of the person that express themselves in many contexts. Gray personality theories. This theory was developed by Jeffrey Allen Gray. He was born in 1934 and deceased on 2004. This theory is largely based on Eysenck's theory. It is also known as the behavioral activation system or behavior inhibition system personality theory. Gray model was initially put forward as a variation of gigantic tree. Gigantic tree theories propose neuroticism, extraversion, and psychoticism as the three main personality factors that should be used to categorize people. Gray built his model using data from trials on animals, particularly rats, but mainly applied to people. Like other animals, humans can react to frightening stimuli, either actively, that is by fighting, or inactively, that is running away. The response system was conceptualized at the three layers of biology, each of which correspond to the portion of brain that consists of amygdala, the ventromedial hypothalamus, and the central gray of the midbrain. The behavioral concept of conditioning or reward and punishment and the long-term neurological repercussion are the foundation of Gray's personality theory. Behavioral activation system BAS and behavioral inhibition system BASE theory is useful for understanding motivation and emotion. According to Gray, the BAS motivates behavior toward obtaining a reward by making the individual aware of the reward and giving the go-ahead signal that triggers the behavior. For example, a box of chocolate or a beautiful woman. BAS cause the person to desire and act in the direction of the target. The BIS, on the other hand, is an anxiety system that inhibits behavior associated with potential punishment of lack of reward. Thus, the BIS encourages an individual to stop a particular behavior by increasing the level of awareness of negative outcome of a given behavior. For example, fear of snake, followed by the inhibition against touching it, and in turn, the act of running away. This actively is psychologically expressed in terms of neurotic anxiety and depression. If the person has high BAS, it will cause the person to have impulsivity. That means he or she is a sociopath. But if the person has low BAS, that means he has low impulsivity. But if the person is undersensitive, it can cause the person to have depression. Whereas for BIS, behavioral inhibition system, when the person have high BIS, it will cause the person to have anxiety disorder. If the person has low BIS, that means the person is emotionally stable. If the person is oversensitive, that means the person is depressed, or it will cause the person to have depression.
The Big Five personality traits, also known as the five-factor model or the Big Five model. This analysis model categorizes personalities using descriptive language that enable test taker to select a match. Modern psychology describes the differences in five dimensions of human psychological traits, and these traits constitute the main personality of people. An individual's inclinations to feel negative emotions and emotional instability is referred to neuroticism, which belong to the first major personality dimensions. People with high score on the emotional instability test are more emotional than the average person, and people who score low in the neuroticism dimensions were less troubled and less emotional. The second measure of personality dimensions is extraversions, which refer to an individual is actively engaged in the outside world, indicate the quantity and density of human interaction, the needs of stimulations, and the capacity of enjoyment. This aspect can be measured by two qualities, which are the level of interpersonal involvement and the level of vitality. Then, the attitude of being open and seeking experience is referred to openness. Openness can be viewed as a personality trait that is made up of a set of specific traits or habits. Openness to experience describes a person's cognitive style. In these dimensions, it compares individuals who are curious and creative with those who are traditional and non-artistic. Open-minded people prefer abstract thinking and have a wide range of interests, and closed-minded people are practical and prefer conventional. Agreeableness, also known as sociability, refers to the friendly, considerate, and modest behavior. Agreeableness mainly examines an individual's attitude toward others, which include the approachable, the trusting, and on the other hand, the hostile and cynical. Agreeable people are more empathetic, friendly, generous, and willing to give up their own interests for the sake of others. People with low agreeableness put their own interests ahead of interests of others. Lastly, the conscientious refer to the organizations, persistence, and the motivations of individuals in goal-directed behavior, which conscientiousness mainly describes a person's sense of responsibility. It compares the trustworthy person with the lazy person. Impulsivity is not necessarily a bad thing, and sometimes, in some circumstances, requires us to be able to make quick decisions. Impulsive individuals have more often seen as happy and fun, and extremely conscious individuals tend to feel lifeless. Next are the compare and contrast. There are connections between these two seemingly unconnected theories. Even though they apply various techniques, they essentially have the same objective when describing how personality evolves and how it influences behavior. In Gray personalities, two systems were put out by Gray: the behavioral approach system and the behavioral inhibition system. Gray believed that Extrovert has sensitive reward system and insensitive punishment system, while the introverts are relatively insensitive to rewards but highly sensitive to punishment. The five-factor model of personality structure is closer to the real dimensions of personality. The structures provide an unique application for the descriptions and diagnosis of the personality disorder. Seeing personality disorder as a distinct type of psychopathology independent of the usual personality traits, the five-factor model believes that personality disorders are on the other end of the normal personality continuum. In the field of organizations, Gray personality theory can better predict people's work motivations and reward sensitivity. And besides, the five-factor model of personality provides an effective prediction of a person's behavioral pattern in a very short period of time, as linked directly to the positive outcome through the job satisfaction. In our conclusion, we are able to understand that Gray personality theory and Big Five personality traits are both used to measure, describe, and understand a person's behavior and personalities. Personality is an ordered, stable combination of their personality characteristics and traits. Gray's personality theory helps us to understand why an individual acts in that way or has that behavior in those circumstances. But Big Five personality describes the personality and predict behavior more than it explains why people behave in certain circumstances. This is the end of our sharing. Thank you for watching.